Hey, good morning, everyone. Welcome back to TBD, your Colorado Springs real estate podcast. I'm Rob Thompson, associate broker here at the agency in Colorado Springs, and I'm joined by my colleagues.
I'm Laurie, Ristig, also a realtor at the agency.
And I'm Mattice with Total Living Concepts.
And we are back to talk about the buyer's side of this market. But first, a couple quick stats for you. We are at right now 936 active listings that is active only, not under contract in El Paso, single family homes in El Paso County. So 936. There were 32 new listings today. We are at a historic low of 60 homes, $250,000 or below, actively listed single family in El Paso County. That's down about 11 since the last time we did the podcast. There are 82 homes, 250 to 300K. And there are 794 listed 300K and above. Average or median price is $434,000 approximately, and the median days on market is 34. I like to use median.
Wait.
Go ahead.
What was the median price?
$434,000.
That seems high.
Oh, of active listings, not sold. So that's active.
Okay.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. That makes sense then. Because there's so few of the lower price ones.
Yep.
Yeah.
The median has shifted forward. So, market is continued to heat up, and it feels to me like the price pressure has continued to rise as the inventory has fallen. Now we are seeing a week before last, I had wind of 7 low appraisals. So I think market reality.
We had one come in 70,000.
Okay.
Oh my gosh.
Than sales price. And the seller dropped the price immediately. Didn't even bother. Just, okay.
Well, yeah, that's a reasonable seller then.
Right.
Because, but I think what's happened is market sentiment and market reality are catching up to one another.
Finally.
But so that's our stats for this particular podcast.
So basically, if you're buying, you're probably most likely going to be in a multiple offer situation.
You are.
So how do you set yourself apart from your competitors?
Well, you have me as your lender, and we get you pre-approved.
That's a shameless plug.
It is very shameless.
That's okay. That's what we're. But you got to get credit for what you do.
Yeah, I think one of it is pre-approval, but I don't think it really matters. I mean, we've discussed this over and over again. Sellers are going to take top dollar, whatever that is.
Not necessarily.
Yeah, we have had some successes in the last couple weeks. What I was saying previously, I think, is that if you take a consistent strategy and you apply it consistently, you'll eventually win. And I had 2 wins recently with a consistent strategy. Now it took 14 times on one client and 9 on the other, but we did win. But now Laurie has. So first up, you be pre-approved from Mike. That's a competitive advantage.
Yes.
Laurie attended a class recently, and she has some tips about what can a buyer do. What do you got, Laurie?
As we've been saying, a lot of the appraisals are not coming in. So it doesn't matter if you have the top dollar. If the other things in your offer don't align up, you can bid $70,000 over appraisal.
Right.
But if it doesn't appraise, they're not going to get that much money anyway. So they're going to look at which one's the strongest offer for them. So number one thing you should do, you shouldn't do it, your real estate agent should do it, is call the seller's agent and ask the magic question, which is if your sellers had a magic wand, what would they want? Some people want to sell it immediately. They're in a hurry. They want to get out of there. But with this market, a lot of people are worried about, I'm moving, but I need to find another home. I can't go looking until mine gets under contract so that, when I present an offer, it's not, it's not contingent on anything. Exactly. So they might not want the cash offer that closes in 15 days. Their situation is they need as much time as they can to find something to get their offer accepted and then get that paperwork moving. So, the thing you need to do is call and ask. Above list price offer is obviously you're not going to get anything for less than list price unless it's way overpriced in this market. It's just not going to happen. We
went under contract on a house that was 27 days on the market. Just a crazy find, but they still weren't willing to drop.
Really?
They gave us list price plus concessions, which itself was a celebratory win. But, like those.
So there's a number of strategies and things you can do when you're putting your offer in. Obviously, number one, call and ask what are they looking for, because that's going to put your offer above the others. if you're giving them everything they're asking for, that they want. One thing you can do is, especially if they need to look, is you can have a long time between under contract and closing. So instead of doing like 30, 45 days, do a 60-day contract. You have 60 days now before we close. You have time to look for something. And then if you want to add even more enticement, you can do a seller rent back saying, okay, you have 60 days, and if you need the option, we'll let you go ahead and stay in the house, and we'll rent it back to you for up to 60 days.
I saw a house in the MLS that is requiring a 1-year rent back.
That's not even doable for most loans, though, because you have to,
Yeah, I was actually going to interject here just a second. You said 60 days.
60 days, yeah.
I can get a 60-day lock, but it's going to cost the consumer.
Is it?
Oh, yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's going to be, their rate's actually going to be probably an eighth higher.
Okay.
Whatever market's quoting.
Interesting.
And if we don't lock it at 60, it could pose problems because rates could move and they could no longer qualify if they're on the edge.
We almost had that happen.
So if that's an option that you're thinking of, talk to your lender is the moral of that story. Before you put that in your offer, talk to the lender and make sure it's actually doable.
Yeah, you need all the pieces of
the
puzzle. If the rates were more stable, like they were, say, even a year ago, maybe, but now rates are on the move up, and so I would not. I'm telling all my clients, lock now.
I would say if you can. Sometimes the timing is of the essence.
Sure.
And there, you might not be able to.
If it's an option for you though, and it's going to mean the difference between getting the house and not getting the house, and you need to move, and the difference is an eighth of a point.
Yep, you're going to do it.
I mean, that might be worth it to you. So the next thing I have on my little list is the pre-approved loan, and this one was interesting. He said, have your lender call the selling agent, because not all lenders will do that. They won't do it unless you specifically ask them to say, hi, I'm representing X. This person's credit is impeccable. I don't see any reason why this won't go through. They've been pre-approved. It's gone through these, whatever. And this is a really solid loan, because not all loans are, you might get pre-approved, but it might be just barely borderline. You can barely afford this house. Or it might be fantastic and a slam dunk.
The deal that I called on yesterday actually is a realtor that I used to work with. So I put in my good word for my buyer as well.
Mm-hmm. So a lot of homes, and we talked about this last week from the seller's perspective, will go on the market on Thursday evening, and in the agent comments will say showing all weekend, no offers will be considered until Monday, so that they can get as many offers as they can. So one thing you can do to kind of jump that is offer an early acceptance bonus, where you say, here's my offer, the deadline's Monday, but if you accept our offer before Monday, the offer goes up by $3,000 or whatever magic number you want to do, and you can either counter us right now with the $3,000 and we'll accept it, or I can send you another offer with the 24-hour acceptance and we'll bump it up the extra $3,000. What do you think? Because sometimes sellers are like, you know what? This offer is perfect. It has everything I'm looking for. Any higher than this, and it's not going to appraise anyway. And so if I accept this now, today, on Friday evening, I don't have to show my house all weekend. This offer is perfect. Why am I going to continue showing my house through Monday? Let's just take it and take it off the MLS. And that happens a lot, where you see a house where it says no offers accepted till Monday, and then on Saturday or Sunday it goes off the market because they accepted an offer. So just because they say they're not accepting offers, they're looking at the offers. Oh, yeah. So
I really like that idea.
Yeah, that's a really great one. So let's see, what else did I get? So this class I took was great. It was a real estate lawyer from Denver. And he had so many great ideas because, Denver's been experiencing this for the last couple of years. It's barely now finally trickling down to Colorado Springs, really hitting Colorado Springs.
So he's got the insight.
He
from
had
years
so many great tips.
Market.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. So that brings us now to appraisal and inspection mods. And with these, I would proceed with caution. So your inspection is your chance to get out of the deal if the house is, it's going to be a money pit, and you didn't know this when you looked at it because it wasn't things you could see. You can put into your contract, if you don't care, if you're gonna flip the house or something and you're, I don't care about XYZ, or if you're like, no, I want this house and I'll fix it, I don't care. You can do an inspection mod where you can either say, I waive the right completely to do an inspection objection, or you can do specific things. Like you can say, I can see this back deck is falling apart, and this is definitely going to come up in inspection, and it's definitely going to cost them upwards of $10,000-$15,000. And anyone's going to say, I want this deck fixed. Mm-hmm. If I know I'm okay with a deck like this, you can write into your contract some kind of verbiage that says, we waive the right to object over the deck specifically.
Now the one problem with that is the appraisal. Yeah, if it's an FHA
right.
loan, then they're
right.
appraisal.
Oh, I just said deck as a random example, but it could have been anything, right?
But it's still, that still is a strategy, because you might waive the inspection, but you can't waive the appraisal.
Right, and that all falls into what kind of loan you have. Right. So your realtor should know one way or another whether or not they can throw that in based on the type of loan that you have.
You can still throw it in, but what I'm saying is you put it in there, because then the seller's agent
caught in the appraisal, then you have to
fix it anyway. Yep.
Yeah.
So it's, as a buyer's agent, I'd still put it in there. As a good seller's agent, you'd want to counsel your seller, okay, just heads up, that might still be an appraisal condition. So. Sure.
So now appraisal mods. So another thing is you can say is, okay, we know this is probably not going to appraise for this, or we suspect this probably won't appraise for this amount that we're offering you. You can either waive it all together if you've got a bunch of cash in your pocket and you're like, I'll just bring the difference in cash. Right. Or you could say, buyer will pay X number above whatever it appraises at. So we're willing to bring $3,000 to the table over appraisal if it doesn't appraise. So that's another incentive, because we've been talking about houses not appraising at the amount they're selling for. So, that's a bonus. They're going, okay, we're definitely going to get more than our house is even worth. So that's something to consider. Escalation clauses. So an escalation clause is when you say, okay, I want to put an offer on this house for, let's just throw a number out, $250,000. But I'm willing to pay up to $275,000, really. So I'm going to say, my offer's for $250,000, but if you get another bona fide offer for more than $250,000, up to $275,000, which is my cap, I'll go $1,000 over any other offer that gets put on. So somebody puts in an offer for $265,000, mine's $266,000. The only danger with that is now that you're showing all your cards, they know exactly what your max is, and they might just counter you $275,000. But if you're willing to go $275,000 and you really want that house, then
only put in the escalation clause what you're willing to pay.
Up to what you're willing to pay. Yeah. So don't just go willy nilly and picking some random number. Really think about what you can and are willing to pay.
We lost a house recently that went $17,000 over list.
Wow.
Waived the inspection, and the buyer's agent waived 1.5% of their commission back to the seller, regardless of appraisal price.
Wow.
So roughly $20,000 differential. It's just
and it still didn't work out.
No, that was the winning offer.
Oh, you were.
No, we were the loser. We lost because we went up $10,000, but 20. It just wasn't going to appraise, and I had a kind of conversation with the list agent and said it's not going to appraise. Mm-hmm. I know. Okay, and the seller knows too. Okay, then. Okay, but so
it's tough.
Yeah.
All right. Last but not least of the stuff on my magic list is a backup contract. So let's say you lose. You can now go to the selling agent and say, "Hi, I realize we lost this deal, but can you put us in as a backup contract? So if the deal that you just did falls through for any reason, we're your backup. We're your number 2. You're going to come to us and you're going to have us as the next in line, and you will accept our offer if that first one falls through." And there's actually, you'd think that it'd be better to just put it back on the market and get another, higher dollar value, but not necessarily. And here's why. You are giving the sellers leverage now. When it comes time for inspection, and let's say that deck comes up, and the buyers of the people who are actually under contract with the house say, we want you to fix this $15,000 deck before we move in. Now the seller has leverage, and they can say, well, they can call up backup offer number 2 and say, they want us to fix this deck. Would you want us to fix this deck? You can say, nope, I'll put that in the contract. We won't make you fix the deck. Now they can go back to buyer number one and say, well, we have a backup offer that says they're not going to make us fix the deck. So that's going to end up, their backup offer might be $5,000 less than yours, but now we don't have to fix this $15,000 deck. So if you want to go ahead with this contract, we're not going to fix the deck.
Playing a long game.
Exactly. There. So it gives the sellers leverage with that first buyer. And then if the buyers say, well, too bad, we don't want the house without the deck, then they're out of the picture and you just won the contract. And
did you really?
Well, you did if you got it.
I understand, but I mean, then you have a known problem that you're just saying, okay, I'll deal with it later.
Well, I mean, you don't say, yes, I'm okay with that unless you are.
Right. I understand. This market's screwy.
Those are a lot of good tips. Thank you, Laurie.
Yeah.
So if you're looking to buy a house, I highly recommend Laurie Ristig here at the agency and Mike Mattice as a lender at TLC. They're on it, and Laurie is now got some mega skills to show off.
And I'm a certified negotiation expert, FYI.
Right on.
Certified even.
Certified.
Wow.
I'm certifiable even.
All right.
So
on to the 8 ball.
Yeah, Mike, what are interest rates going to do?
Well, I asked the crystal ball or the 8 ball earlier, and it says most likely rates will continue to rise.
Which actually is what we know to be the market trend too.
Yeah.
Okay. Anybody got any podcasts to recommend?
Not this week, no.
Oh, I can't remember the name of it. I was listening to a murder mystery one. It was real funny.
I started listening to LeVar Burton reads.
Did you hear the first one?
I'm struggling with it.
Oh, you're killing me. It was so good and creepy.
It's his voice. I don't know. I mean, I like LeVar, but
it's good old LeVar Burton.
I know.
Who read you stories as a child? Come on. All right, whatever.
Mine is I'm still working on adaptive markets. It's a dense read. Good, but dense, and it's just it really talks about. I really like the segment about the efficient market hypothesis and how simplistic the idea is, but how actually complex it is.
Mm-hmm.
That being that the market perfectly prices stocks with all known and available information. Seems very simple, but it's actually quite complex. The layers behind it,
sure.
How does it do that, and it's just so. And also one of the core components of the book so far is that markets are not purely rational. We've fallen into a sort of a trap, according to Mr.
Mm-hmm.
Lowe, last 10-15 years, saying that markets are entirely rational, that they are quantifiable. But we've lost the human element in that equation.
I mean, yeah. If you're market confidence, if you feel like this is going to be great and I'm going to get into this, you're going to buy a bunch of stuff. I'm financially secure. All this other. If you feel like it's not, you're going to hold back and it's
then the collective
herd behavior.
Exactly,
yeah.
collective herd behavior, for lack of a better term.
Sure.
I'm
a member of the herd, so it's fine.
It appears then to make rational decisions because the collective millions of people participating in the market or not, or pulling back or whatever makes
you're looking what everyone else is doing and saying, well, if everyone else is doing this, they must be right.
But then the follow on from that though is that you can't predict future prices because you can predict trends, but the follow on to the efficient market hypothesis of rational pricing and perfect pricing is that you can't determine what the price is going to be tomorrow.
I feel like in the further out you're trying to predict too, the less accurate you're going to be. Because there's just so many more wrenches that can be thrown in.
Yep, and tweets and stuff.
Oh God!
So I'm going to stop there. Pump the brakes. So again, if you're looking to buy or sell, give Laurie a ring. If you're needing a loan, give Mike a ring. How do they get a hold of you guys?
I'm on Facebook, Laurie Ristig Realtor. My phone number is 719-964-0632. Call me, text me if you don't like calling. I'm fine with that too.
You can reach me at 719-505-3467.
There you go. Both are on Facebook too. Okay. You all have a good day.
Good
and talk to you soon.